The state's on a roll right now, and there's so many things going in the right direction. And when you think about a budget surplus, when you think about low unemployment rates, when you think about the major economic development projects that are happening in just about every corner of the state, you got people and businesses that are moving to Indiana in record numbers. When you have all of those things going right across tech and manufacturing, healthcare, a number of advanced manufacturing, how do you, in your language, then take that to the next level?
In 2005, for the next 12 years, so 8 years of Mitch Daniels, 4 years of Mike Pence, they brought in through the Indiana Economic Development Corporation in new capital investment about almost $50 billion in CapEx. Good. In the next 6 years, since I've been here, and I'm not being egocentric about this, but just the momentum, we've done $60 billion. So $10 billion more in half the time, 6 years, not 12, $10 billion more. And it just shows you that each year, now we did $22 billion last year.
Wow.
Which almost tripled the all-time record. But this year, we're trying to do $23 billion. And then proactively go out there and share our story for sure. You have to share your story. You got to share the good news.
Yep.
And oftentimes people kind of forget that step. They just assume people will know their story. And so we go all over the world. 7 billion of that 22 billion was foreign direct investment. So SDI, Samsung SDI coming into Kokomo, Indiana, as an example, a couple billion plus, which will continue to grow. You know, that doesn't happen unless we're out sharing the good news.
What tells you that's such a great investment for the state, and what tells you that it's such a great investment for others that they're joining in with you?
Well, the proof's in the pudding. You know, I can look at the spreadsheet or the ledger, and I can see the growth that's occurring as we make investments. We see the ROI. We see the influx of, and every time I go to Chicago and go through the airport or go through any business I do in Chicago, I always get people that come up to me and say, my coworkers are moving to Indiana.
Yeah.
Or as soon as I retire, I'm moving to Indiana. Or, you know, and it's for good reason. It's the quality of life. It's the quality of place. And so we certainly make responsible investments. We're not just throwing money at something and hoping it works. And folks around the world, around the state, around the country are taking note that this is a very safe bet if they want to grow their company. And you know,
It's
what
a
we
very
want to do is
productive, proven course of action.
And what we do is when we're talking and we're in the negotiation or the discussions, I always say, look, here's 3 people in the state of Indiana. May not be as big as you, may be bigger than you.
Yeah.
Would you like to talk to the CEO of that company, get their
Yeah.
impression of doing business here? You may be a competitor, but maybe not. But they may be your supplier. But let me connect you with someone so you're not hearing it from this politician.
Yeah.
Because and I always tell them, when we do a deal, I'm doing it forever, long after I'm gone. This is cultural.
This is the
here.
state of Indiana's
That's
deal,
exactly
not
right. Yep.
Governor
It's not
Holcomb's
me
deal.
trying to, build out my resume. This is about their company that's going to be here, just like it was Chrysler, then FCA, then Stellantis, and so we have to make sure that we're playing the long game with them, and they understand that when they invest 2, 3, 4 or more $billion in an operation, then they're going to be able to grow at the speed or the pace that they want to grow, not what they're restricted or able to grow because of some other factor like the state or a local community.
You also see hundreds or thousands of examples of humanity.
Yeah.
What are a couple that you can share that you say, you know what, that's what I'm talking about being a Hoosier?
Yeah. Well, they're everywhere all the time, as you rightly point out, and maybe these are current and they may seem oversized, but we just lost a giant in Bruce White, who was kind of a legendary individual in not just Northwest Indiana, or not actually not just Indiana, but kind of a pillar in his profession and someone that's looked to as how to do it the right way, how to give back, has a foundation, and with a goal of changing the trajectories of people's lives. And that's pretty heady stuff.
Yeah.
But when you get an individual like that or a family like that, Dean before him, I mean, this was generational. How do we give back to the community?
And plan to continue generationally giving back.
And pull someone in like Bill Hannon, not to name drop, but
Yeah.
who's with the foundation, who has a heart of gold, who
Smartest guy in Northwest Indiana.
I'm gonna tell him you said that next time I see him. I mean,
He is.
guard of the unknown tomb longer than any other, I think, human on planet Earth.
Yeah.
And so talk about trust and honor and duty, and but to have an individual like that from our state and to see the good that comes out of it, but also, you know, the mayors and people that are stepping up and doing things differently over the course of the last, predates me obviously, but people that are doing small things and big things, whether it's for cancer research, you know, it's just, or fill in the blank. I get really jazzed when I'm around folks who are taking on big challenges that it would be easy to go pour your time and money into something else, but to see an individual who could be doing that, could be living on some island somewhere, saying, I care about downtown Valparaiso, or I care about downtown Michigan City, or I care about the county, or,
Yeah.
you know, and pour their heart and soul and their success back into a community.
You seem to get from the very beginning the potential and the importance of good news.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to celebrate our 14th anniversary,
that, yeah.
March 23rd.
That's so cool.
This is something that was not supposed to work. And
I love it.
I, you know, you're a basketball fan. You know, I love rooting for the underdog. We were the
Valpo
underdog.
High School.
And what does it tell you what does our longevity or what does the growth tell you about Hoosiers? And maybe their positive inclination a little bit more than negative inclination.
I think positive news is built to last. I think negative news is caters to the 15 seconds of fame seekers. You have proven that good news has longevity and endurance and attracts talent that wants to be part of something that builds up. Now, and by the way, it's harder to build up than it is to tear down.
Oh, yeah.
And it can, you know, you can degrade in 15 seconds flat, but it may take 15 years to build it up into a sturdy organization, or 14. And but what it tells me, not just through my faith, but it tells me that this is the way to attract more good. And I think that's why people turn to you and want to be nourished and want to be reminded that there is so much more good than bad or evil.